Hi there, and welcome back to Triplicate. And it is now mid-November, and the festive season is fast approaching, which certainly in our house is a season of pretty coloured lights. So I thought I would jump on the mood light and get it doing something pretty anyway. Hopefully something more exciting than just changing colours like it is. So this is where we got to. We had a Nucleo board, and that's wired to a string of these serial addressable LEDs. And last video got all that up and running and working, not too much head scratching, and I guess if you want to know all about how to interface these to a Nucleo, go watch that video. For now, I want to A, do something more with these, B, I guess I will have to do something with the globe that goes over the top. I guess get some silver paint to spray around inside. Should be interesting. And C, hopefully, but if we have time, there's the microphone, the PIR sensor and the light sensor, which I was going to mount in this, well, I did mount in this bit of plastic to test out. But I have coming, hopefully later this morning, a nice matte dark grey case to stand it on, and mount all the electrics and so forth, electronics inside, so that is away. But for now, we need to think what we're actually going to do with it. So I will have a think about that and get back to you. Okay, so this is how I am proposing to do it in a first instance. Like all things that have sort of high human interaction, you can only really suck it and see. You might design it on a piece of paper and actually implement it and find it's not what you want. So this is going to be my first hit. I am going to have a series of moods, and these are not going to be like human moods like sort of happiness and anger. These are going to be, I suppose, more something that might inspire a mood in you. And the idea of this is it's going to be sort of pleasant and relaxing, mostly, at least in the first instance. So I have some initial moods we could implement. Waterfall, fire, more flickering flames in the hearth than house burning down, I guess. Beach. What is that, eh? Oh, the joy of being dyslexic. Woodland. Oh. Egypt. So there's something to be going on with, and we will have more than one mood going, and it won't have one mood forever. It will change between moods, so we will have some transitions. So they will be you know, how it changes between mood. It won't just change between moods, or it could. We can have sudden. We can have fade, so it gradually transitions between the two moods, and I thought we could implement strobe, where the mood will break up into sort of blinking lights and then collect back together into the new mood. And I'm not quite sure what to control this. We will have something called control stroke playlist. I will decide on a name at some point. It isn't sort of coming to me right at the moment. And this will control how long each mood lasts, how long the transition is between them, what transition will be between them, and that will be controlled by a timer, which will be random. And it could be controlled by movement, PIR, capitals really, light sensor, and sound. What am I writing? S-O-U-N-D. Even I can spell that. Microphone. So let's see if we can generate some sort of code, some sort of moods, just a couple, you know, try and get something up and running and see what it looks like. Let's see what our Mini is going loopy about. Okay, and as I said originally, I was going to, just for development, mount the light sensor, the microphone and the PIR in this bodged up bit of plastic, and the light sensor still screwed onto it. But I decided to actually go for broke and come up with the final version, and I decided I was going to buy from my good friends at Farnell a box from TAKACHI, what is it? Don't know. So let's have a look at this. This has arrived hot out of the back of a UPS van. Possibly driving a lorry is hard work. You can do. There it is. Well, that's quite swish. It's quite swish. I like that. Oh, there's the screws and plugs for the screws. So the idea is that's sort of very neutral and dark grey, and this sits on top of it like that. Actually, exact fit. And all the electronics, this guy and all the other stuff go in there. So am I going to work on some software or start building this up? I guess I will have to make a decision, and you will know my decision when you see the next bit of video. Okay, as you can see, I decided to put it all together, because then I can just put the case together and it's all secure and not flopping about the desk asking to be shorted out and damaged. And quite cleverly it has these two panels which slide, can you see that? Slide into the case, which is really nice because you can take them out and mount all this lot in the panel without having to the unwieldy side of a box to drill holes in, and I've got a little connector here on the connections to the LEDs, so it'll all come completely apart should I want it to do so. So should we, having wired these, the microphone, the PIR and the light sensor up, shall we see if they're working? So shall we look at the PIR first, which is this? So that's the pink wire. So that's the pink wire, that goes to the pink wire, and this just flopping all over there and waiting to short something out. This is the ground to the meter. So if we look at the meter, we're seeing no volt, and if I move this around, there you go, we get a pulse of 3.3 volts. Second up, let's look at the light sensor, which is this one, which is the yellow wire, and you can see that's 0.9 of a volt, which goes, if I point it up at the lights, to about 1.8 volts, and if I block it off, it goes right down to not a lot. Good, and finally the microphone, which is, where are we here, the blue wire, which is that one, which is 1.2 volts biased. So if we flip her onto AC volts and grab this, and I talk at the microphone, you can see down there we're getting a little AC signal as I talk, so I reckon that's working alright. So I'm going to put it together and we can start looking at some code. Okay, here we are. I have got the analog and PIR inputs working, and I'll just run you through them real quick. Does this sound American YouTube? So the PIR is just a PC1 in, which is just a standard analog input, and the code for it just clears all the LEDs to off here, and if the PIR is set, sets one LED to red, and if it's not, sets that LED to green. How simple is that? So let us send that to the unit. There we go, and fire it up. And yes, right, I'm going to need to do some camera work here. Okay, so I'm hiding out the route of the room, just peering around the doorway, and we're green. So the minute I come into the room, it triggers, and then because it's got delays and things, it stops triggering and then waits a bit and triggers again. And if I try and sit still, it'll still trigger. I can't sit still enough. There we go. And if I move, it'll trigger. So that's working. There are some adjustments on that PIR, so I can probably make it work more to our needs when we know what our needs are. Right. Okay, let's have a look at the two analog inputs, one for the microphone, one for the light sensor. So they are PAO and PA1, which are ADC1 O in and ADC1 1 in, and had a bit of a fight, I suppose, here in that getting the settings right. So we want to convert continuously so we can get like an audio input from the microphone at a constant rate, and to do that we have scan conversion mode enabled and continuous conversion mode enabled, and we go down here, number of conversions 2, you have to set that to get 2 channels, and you then get 2 ranks, which is the order it does them, which is really not care, really don't care. And so rank 1 is channel 1 and rank 2 is channel 0, they're backwards way on, again it doesn't matter. And the sampling time is how long the gate, as it were, is open to let signal in before it's converted, and that's the way I see of controlling the sample rate, which we want to be, I don't know, 20 to 40 kilohertz for our audio. And what also took me a while to figure out is that you have to use the DMA. There's no use just putting an interrupt when it's complete, because you'll just get the second sample in the result register. The first one will have been thrown away, so you need the DMA to copy them into memory. So there we go, we're using DMA 1, and we'll look at that. Data with word both ways is what I set that to, and that seemed to work. So if we go back in here, and I have some defines to enable the test code, so we will disable the PIR and enable the analog. Oh, don't do that. Okay, so run debug. Okay, ready to rock. Off we go. Okay, and I am going to have to tip this over so you can see the 2 LEDs I've got. And I realised that I had no way of knowing what was going on inside to open it up and put lights on the ports, so I could trigger the scope. So this is the microphone, and as you can see, if I talk into the microphone it sort of dickers about, because the microphone signal is bouncing up and down around a centre point, and that's just sampling it pretty arbitrarily. But if I go quiet, you can see it sits pretty much at its mid-level, and this little red one is the light sensor. So if I put my finger over the light sensor, it doesn't go out. Huh, it does if I put my finger over it properly. And there. It's just these LEDs are just red, then green, then blue, then white to indicate some sort of a level. Okay, so that is working, so we can get on and write some proper mood light software. So let's do that. Okay, so I actually think I'm going to end this one here, because it's a decent length already, and it's a sort of natural point to break. So I'm going to start on the next video on this mood light immediately, so it's probably going to be the next one I upload after this, and we're going to make it do some interesting moods. And I also have coming some wacky silver paint for the inside of the globe, so we'll see how that goes as well. So
for now, it's goodbye from Triplicate, home of interesting electronics. Goodbye.